Good evening. How is everyone doing? We would like to take the time to welcome you to another Morning Glory Apostolic Prophetic Center video. And today we're continuing the series, It's Time to Move Forward. But, to, but today we're going to name this the parenting edition or the parent edition because it's 2025 is going to be a season of rest for most of us who are hearing God. What we have to understand is that a lot of us, we didn't grow up like some grew up. You know, we may not have the family experience, or we may not have the love that we thought we needed or the love that we desired. So now many of us are holding animosity and we are holding grudges and we are holding anger toward people who really don't understand who they are. What we have to do, and now that many of us, because I had this conversation today, that many of us, I really sure did a piss poor job on my nails. I just noticed that. But anyway, that many of us have a far better relationship with God than our parents had. And because we live in a state of mind that we seen how other parents treated their children and gave them what they want in spite of their own self, many of us are now we have a mindset of hating the people that brought us in this world. We got to understand that when some of us become parents, we got to understand what parenting is really about. You know, one of the first things I heard, and y'all have heard me say it before, is that when I finally got to hear the voice of God, the first thing I heard God say is, "Don't be mad at your mother. She was just raising you how she was taught." I never understood why God would say that, and that'd be like the very first instruction that I received from Him as it related toward people. But as my life went on, and I began to think about what my mom done to me, and you know how I was treated and how was I was raised, I think because I had a forgiving spirit, He was already telling me don't hold animosity. All right. Ephesians 6, chapter 1 through 4, it said, "Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor your father and mother, which is the first commandment with a promise, so that it may go well with you, and that you may enjoy a long life on this earth." See, a lot of us, we sit back and we wonder how a loving God would allow us to grow up in a household where we didn't experience love, where we got cussed out, where we were verbally abused, physically abused, sexually abused. And we think about, well, why did God allow that to happen? I was just a child. You know, God taught me something the other day, yesterday, matter of fact, because a lot of times, like I said, I knew my dad, but I only seen him maybe 3 times, and every time I seen him, he was drunk. Then my mom remarries again, and I couldn't consider this man a dad because I never knew what a dad was. So now, why is this man hitting me? Why is this man abusing me? And it was not until yesterday that I really understood. See, because we don't understand the wisdom of God, we can't tell God when to answer us. We can't tell God how he need to show us something. We just gotta trust what we hear. For many of us, we don't understand our family tree. We don't understand if somebody in our lineage was an enemy of God. We don't understand whether it was a witch, a warlock, or whatever. We don't know. Because when we talk to the elders that may know, most of them gone. But what God told me, he said, sometimes I have to allow things to happen to you, even though you see it as traumatic, it's because I had to stop the cycle. Ain't that the wisdom of God? So you telling me, God, that you had to allow me, watch this. I just found out maybe 3 weeks ago, I was just talking to my mom, we just talking, and I heard her say, I never knew who my dad was. My mom. So I say, I look at, I never knew who my dad was. Well, I knew him, but I knew who he was. But now my son, he know who his dad is. Now Josiah, he done spoke with the man for as long as he was around me for those 9 years. I remember the guy calling twice, and every time he called, he tried to regulate something, but he don't want to pay no child support. So watch this. So Josiah sees me as dad, okay? But he don't know his dad. So a lot of us, we got to understand we can't be mad at the people God allowed to get together and then we were born. God gonna use whatever he needed to do to get us here. So yeah, your mama probably was out prostituting and she needed those little $40 and boom, here you come. Your daddy probably was a whore. He was just out there screwing everything, and boom, here you come. How we get here doesn't matter. It's what we do when we get on this earth. So when it talks about honor your father or mother, we got to understand that basically means that we got to respect the method of whoever God used to get us here. Honor is defined as high respect, great esteem. See, some of us ain't got respect for our parents because they weren't at home anyway. I had to fend for myself. My mama didn't like me. My daddy didn't like me. My daddy raped me. My mama molested me. My mama sold me to the neighbor next door. All that is true. But we can't fault the way God had to do what he needed to do. Honor. This gonna help somebody. It said adherence to what is right or to a conventional standard of conduct. Now I'm gonna say this. Don't get me wrong for what I said, but you got to understand that a lot of you got to let go of what the mama did to you, the daddy did to you, natural or biological. Watch this. It goes on and said, fathers, do not expect or exasperate your children. Instead, bring them up in the training and instruction of the Lord. See, maybe your mama or your daddy didn't read about. So how can you honor a person that didn't bring you up in the training and instruction of the Lord? That's when you become cordial. But you don't cuss them out. You don't hit them. You don't fight them. And you know what's saving a lot of us? Because of grace and mercy. See, if you cuss your mom and dad out, but they didn't raise you in the training and instruction of the Lord, how can God judge you when both parties that is wrong? That's why y'all hearing this today, because you finna know the truth. But from this day forward, you can't keep doing it because now you know the truth. That's why some of y'all then got away with it. See, God can't judge two wrong parties. Somebody got to be right in the way they do what they do. So we got to look at how God allowed things to happen to us, and no matter how terrible they is or they were, He did it so we can seek Him. See, sometimes He know we gonna be mad for 20, 30, 40 years, but we seeking God for 20, 30, 40 years. So now, okay, I was wrong. I look at social media sometimes, and I see my sister, and she talking, she cussing, and this and that, and I know my mama on her page. I I can't do that. I'm 54 years old. I slipped up and cussed one time. I said I got to watch my mouth. That's my mama. See, the way we grew up, well, some of y'all might experience. I ain't gonna say we for the most. Yeah, I'm gonna say we for the most part because we grew up in an environment that when you turn 18, they immediately kick you out the house. But I grew up. I don't remember what I did or whatever. I was getting put out the house at 11, 12 years old. I didn't know what to do. But thank God I always left the window open. And after she done whipped my butt and told me to get out of her effing house, you know, and she slammed the door behind me, I just sit there and wait till she go to sleep. I take that screen off, I lift that window up, and I go in the downstairs closet, and I got me something to sit on. I went to sleep in the closet. What kind of parent kicks a child out who barely even a teenager? I think she did that 2 or 3 times. But every time she came home, early sometime, I'm laying on the couch. She'll look at me, but she won't say nothing. She won't say nothing. So we got to know I couldn't treat my child like that. I used to get so many whippings that I remember specifically. She was beating my butt and I was running away. And she pushed me, and that's why I got this mark in the middle of my forehead right there. Is that the one? No, it's this one right here. I got that from playing baseball. And I hit the side of the corner of a wall. And I said, God, if I ever have a child, please make it that I don't beat them. If you call my son today and he'll tell you, Daddy never whooped me. I never had a reason to. Number one, I really went around like I should have been around, but I didn't have a reason. Oh, I think it's over there. It's one of them. I got a mob somewhere. I didn't have a reason. But see, my mama went to church. She didn't have a relationship with God. So when God told me, when I began to hear his voice, he said, don't be mad at her. I often think, well, maybe God knew as I was beginning to minister, I would have to talk about my childhood and I get mad at my mom. Because see, we weren't shown the love that some people love. And see, y'all who ready to get married, and are married, you got to listen to these people that you call yourself you want. If a person don't know what love is or never shown what we call love is, then how can you tell them they ain't loving you how you need to be loved if they done already told you they never experienced that? See, I never experienced, I was 35, 30, between 35 and 37. I don't know if my mama ever said it before, but that was the first time I heard I love you. But God was calling me in the ministry then, and I remember it vividly because she paused and she was quiet and she said it. So she might not have never said it. So now we want something from people that really wasn't shown in them, and we get mad if they don't show it back to us, but they done told you. I don't know what that is. But then some say, well, my mama, my daddy didn't love me, but I know what love is. No, you don't. What you did, I'm gonna tell y'all what y'all have done. You wanted love. So what you did, you abandoned who you were to find out what you need to feel, and you called it love. Y'all know, I often say when I go to Second Corinthians, I often say, how can so many of us say we in love, and the Bible said love never fails? We, we don't want to tell the truth that we was lusting. See, I'm curious just by counseling and communication and listening, I'm curious how so many of you can leave relationships, go in the next relationship, and immediately you love them, but you were with Honey Boo Boo 10, 20, 30 years, and you said you love them, but now, see, you got this microwave love, then you got love of longevity. 'Cause we got to look at it. If we're not getting what we want and we say it's not love, then guess what? The love you're seeking was not of God, it was of lust. The word says, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. See, watch this. When we look at the world, what we look at? We see the sissies, we see the prostitutes, we see the drug addicts. See, real love covers a multitude of sin. It don't run from it. So if a person is void of love, if you had real love, you'll cover what they in. But y'all run to the next man, to the next woman, until you find the next man or next woman because you've been bored with that one. And a lot of you trying to find somebody to give you the experience that you feel. So now we got to look at our children, or for many of you who waiting on children. Will we raise them in the instructions and the way of God, or will we raise them how mama and them raised us? So you see, a lot of the things many of us done went through, we can't fault the people who brought us here. Now, see, you can sit and talk to your parents. If you begin to talk about God and they walk off or change the subject, how can you fault a person that haven't met God, which means they ain't got the Holy Spirit? So how they gonna know what they were doing was wrong? They just doing what they taught. First Timothy 3, it says he must manage his own family well and see that his children obey him, and he must do so in a manner worthy of full respect. If anyone does not know how to manage his own family, how can he take care of God's church? Do your children really respect you, or are they your friends? See, the worst thing y'all new parents can do, y'all at the club with them, you smoking weed with them, you drinking with them, you sleeping with the daddy, they got the son, and sometimes y'all crisscross like that Steve Harvey daughter, whatever her name. How you gonna sleep with daddy's son, and then you look around, you dating his daddy? Y'all ain't got no standards. Y'all ain't got no moral. Are you really managing your family? I see. We can get on it again. It's a difference between a man or a woman of God and a God fearing man. We just gonna leave it with them two. See, what I've been telling y'all, I said, as a man, is your family living or just existing? I'm trying to help y'all because some of y'all getting ready to have some kids around here. And I don't want how mama and daddy raised you is the way that you should raise your child. S- some of you so careful that you don't make a mistake and raise them like your mama or dad raised you that you don't see you just like 'em. You just like them. Cause see, a man of God gonna set boundaries. A man of God gonna have a vision. A man of God just ain't gonna wake up every day. Watch this. Do you know anytime you feel any kind of hurt, heartbreak, depression, anything like that, do you know it should draw you closer to God? So watch this. Y'all done got you people that's freshly divorced. If the is the man or the woman you with, are they leading you or teaching you the things of God, or are y'all just living life? You doing you. That's the number one sign to show you that your choice you made wasn't a God choice. Because God is never going to give us anybody that takes us away from Him and we trying to get to Him. Or they taking you to bed, they taking you out to eat, they taking you shopping, they showing you off, but God ain't on their lips. God ain't on their lips. So when you now, granted, things happen, and you might get you a little bit, and you ain't married. You know, I ain't gonna judge that. I've been there too. But how you gonna raise the child? So just because it was a one night stand, just because they gave you $50 and an extra 20 for unprotected, you pregnant. Now you mad at the man or the woman that brought the baby on earth because you didn't really want them. You just like how they operated in the bed. So now your child got to suffer because you needed your rent paid. Because you just had a pocket full of money and you just want to see can you buy. How you gonna raise your child? And see, a lot of y'all raising your child with hate. Let me see, can I find what that was 4, 5 years? I taught y'all that with some of you who was around, and I taught you when you conceive, how you feel or interact about that man for you. This for you women, how they feel or interact with you. That's the spirit that that child is born in. So if you always cussing and you thinking you doing this, that's the spirit your child has. That's why he act just like his daddy. So for us, if you got a real relationship with God, how you raising your child? How many daddies they got now? Oh, I'm sorry. Y'all don't say daddy and uncle no more. How many friends that your son know about? How many friends your little daughter got? Now, watch this. So your son think it's cool to have more than one woman. Your daughter think it's cool to have more than one man because that's just your friend. What you have just done is taught them how to lie. You taught them how to lie because they looking, but they can't comprehend. But when they get to that age to comprehend, that ain't no mama friend. They doing this, they doing that. So now, once again, why you really hang around your parents now? So Second Corinthians 12 puts it at, I think it's verse 13. It's Paul talking, and Paul says, "Now I am ready to visit you for the third time, and I will not be a burden to you, because what I want is not your possessions, but you." After all, children should not have to save up for their parents, but parents for their children. You know what? You know what gets me when I be around people and they mom or their parents ask for some money, and you better pay me back. I wish I would ask my mama to pay me back. But watch the twist on that. What I said earlier. If they haven't raised you up in a reflection of the Lord, okay, they got to pay you back. Because it's evident that they didn't know scripture. See, a lot of y'all messed the children up before they even came adults, because you done got the cable in their name, you done had the water in their name, you got the lights in their name, and you didn't pay the bill. Then you go meet your old man, and you give him a little bit, and now the apartment in his name, and you don't pay the bill. So y'all done messed the children up, credit up before they even got to be adults. I was looking at something on TikTok, and this girl was cussing her mama out. But when I got to the point of it, the dumb mama had used the girl's name to purchase a house. And her battle was, I raised you. Okay, she grown. Don't y'all be putting these, don't putting that in these children now. You messing up their life before it even started because you wasn't responsible enough to live your life. But watch this. I don't fault you. Because like I said, people around my age, we grew up getting kicked out the house at 18. Well, why would you kick a child out when they don't understand that? No business sense. Don't know how to pay bills. Don't know how to live. Don't know how to shop. We living in a time that children's meals is pizza and chicken wings and noodles. It's far and few, and McDonald's, of course. It's far and few between that a child actually get a home cooked meal. Because you got to meet Mr. Johnny. And Mr. Johnny want the honey because you want that money. It's a sad state of affairs how many of you leave your children at home so you can go party. You can go visit other men. Do you see what's happening to children every day? When I see a parent that do that just because they of age, that's a parent that don't know how to be a parent. Cause suppose somebody watching you and you come home and somebody they know your little child there because they watching you and they know they done already size them up. They break in your house, first thing they shoot is your child, they steal whatever you got. Y'all don't care about children. Y'all just care about having fun. Psalm 127:3 says, children are a heritage from the Lord, and offspring is a reward from him. Why you dressed to the nine, but your child look like they was thrown away? I used to hate going down to the school when I was married, and I go in there sometime, and I'm looking at the children, snot all out their nose, clothes dirty, hair nappy, knee cutting, and and the little girl smelling and musty, and and they they came to school like that. So what she used to do, she used to go around to the barber I had, and I give he said, yeah, your wife came around here and got a couple of boys haircut, or she'll bring the clothes home and wash it. Now, well, one thing I can say, I guess she had a good heart when she wanted to have a good. But I respect people like that because as a parent, you see your child. That ain't talking about the ones that came to school and they had a couple of pounds of weed in the bag, guns, and all this here. If that's what you do with your reward from God, I see why some of these kids may hate some of these parents. Proverbs 1:8-9 says, listen, my son, to your father's instruction, and do not forsake your mother's teaching. They are a garland to grace your head and a chain to adorn your neck. But for many of us, I didn't have a dad. Didn't nobody teach me that. Now, my uncle, he just taught me how to hustle. So as a result, all I know to do is how to make money because that's who was around. I wanted $20. Come over this grass. I wanted this. Hey, come help me do this. So watch this. That's all I know. So he made money, hung at the shot house, and he ran the women. But see, I don't drink. So I know how to make money, and I ran the women. We got to be careful how many of us are treating our parents because of how they treat us. And to some of us, you treating the children you got the same way. See, it's time for many of you. You got to move forward from the animosity. You got to move forward from depression. Listen here. Daddy been gone 20 years. Mama been gone 15. Let these people stay in the ground. If the Bible says we supposed to have life and life more abundantly, why you always get sad on Mother's Day? Why you mad and crying on Father's Day? If you wasn't too stupid, that should tell you what you doing. It ain't of God because God ain't gonna bring you grief to something He said. Let the dead bury the dead. He said the dead don't know nothing. I sure wish my mama was here. Mama used to do it like that. When Dad used to do this, Y'all let them people stay in Never Never Land. I was looking at something this morning. That done old Takeoff dead. Here Quavo that had a whole birthday party for a dead man. Stop bringing these people in your ministry. Stop bringing them in your mind. That's what's wrong with a lot of you in witchcraft. That's why you can't hear the voice of God because you're a necromancer. Yeah, you're a necromancer because you worshiping dead things. I don't care how good a, I don't care how good a man your daddy was, how good a woman your mama was. God dang it, they did. And see, when you go to bring them to the living with your names on, with the tattoos and this and that, and your shirts and all that, you're a necromancer. Well, how am I? The Bible says obedience is better than sacrifice. So if you want to remember the dead, that means you out of the will of God. And if you out of the will of God, you're not accessing the kingdom of God. Because that's why a lot of these prophetic people that worship in the dead, they're not prophetic. That's the condemnating spirit. That's what it is. It's a false prophetic spirit. Because being a prophet, you're supposed to be able to speak life. How you gonna speak life and you just got through worshiping? You worship death last Sunday because your dad ain't here. You don't know your daddy. And this time you want to speak a message for God. Speaking for God, you just got through talking to the dead. Proverbs 13:24. Whoever spares the rod hate their children, but the ones who love their children is careful to discipline them. Boy, we used to get them done. Them extension cards, them broom handles, a shoe, go pick your own switch. You got to watch how you discipline your child. Because when I finish the book, if you got a prophetic child, you really got to watch how you discipline because you'll end up disciplining the anointing right out of. See, that's what's wrong with a lot of children now. You got your child life planned out. You never ask God how I'm gonna raise my child. So you gotta, oh, you gonna be in Delta, you gonna be on Mega Phi Psi. Oh, you gonna be a Mason. Is that what God said? See, we got to realize, and the reason I'm teaching this like this is that many of us we understand we prophetic. We haven't we having spiritual encounters, so we know if we got spiritual encounters and we having them, that means the child that you had gonna have. Now, even if you don't have it, because you don't know the call on your child's life and you haven't seek God or you haven't been to a person that taught you, or maybe you went to a person that said it, but you still pushing them the worldly way into the spiritual way, you messed up. I was looking something on TikTok the other day. Young girl, I think she about 10, 12, 13, and the mama came in her room. She said, look at my pastor coming up. The little girl had all kind of Bibles open. She got notes and she was sitting in her bed. She went on the phone. She wasn't PlayStation 5. And she said, look at, she said, God gonna make something out of it. She didn't know what. But guess what? She pointed it toward Christ. But see, y'all so worldly. Oh, they stepping for the Lord. They Greeking for the Lord. A little leaven the whole lump. I wonder how, I done read this Bible a couple times. I wonder why Peter and Paul and them, they never Greek for the Lord. They didn't pledge nothing. The Bible ain't secret, but you got to have the spirit to understand it. Proverbs 22:6, start children off on the way they should go, and even when they are old, they will not turn from it. You have no business planning your child's life if you haven't asked God what. See, if the child a reward from God and God done gave it to you, hey God, I don't want to mess up my reward. What do I do with it? Y'all don't listen to me. I was 24 when I had my son. God, I don't know how to be no daddy. You be his daddy. I said, but if he want to learn you, then give him back to me. I didn't know what God was going to do with him. Because when I had him, you know what my thought was? I said, yeah. I said, I'm going to use him to get the women, and then he'll sleep with the mama, and I mean, I sleep with the mama, and he'll have a daughter or something. That was my thought with my boy. But as I got older in God, and he showed me who he was, you know the best thing ain't about it? He comes to me and tell me who he is. Yeah, Dad, I had a dream. Me and you gonna be out there preaching the gospel, and I'm gonna be doing this and I'm gonna be doing that. And I just laugh. Stop taking your children to church and take them to God. See that's why I get some of you with this false relationship with God. Because 90% of you, you got your child doing something that's opposite of their calling in God. And when you have something that moves toward their calling in God, you don't let them do it. That Don Josiah, his mama used to punish him some way, but I'm prophetic. I used to be a child. I remember one day she took his laptop away. I was in there on my chair doing, I probably was teaching or something. I get up because the husband go in the bathroom. I get up, I go in the bathroom. He's sitting on the toilet with the laptop, and when he see me over the door, he got scared and he put it down. I didn't discipline him. I said, Demetri, not Demetri. I said, Joe, what your mama told you? I said, I said, don't worry about it, buddy. I said, I ain't gonna say nothing. I said, you better. I said, when you come out, I said, you better put it up before she catch it. See, some things we can't hold because in my head, he just being a child. And a lot of us know when mama told us or daddy told us don't do so, we snuck to go do it. Why would I punish him for something like that? When that's part of growing up. Part of growing up. At school one day, he ran the white folks. Told this white boy, he said, I drag your ASS. I found it funny, but I didn't, well, we found it funny. But what did I do? I said, okay, you can't say that. It's because when I was little, do you understand that some of us discipline our children for the same thing we doing, but yet we don't really tell them why what they doing is wrong. We don't tell them. We just beat their butt. That's how I grew up. So we're gonna live 2025 in a place of finding God's peace. You gotta stop being mad at your parents. If you went to them, they don't want to make up, they still acting the same way, don't fault them. They ain't got God. But guess what? You try to make it right because you had God. So don't hold no animosity because your dad won't speak to you. Don't hold no animosity because mom won't talk. I was looking at that, what that Polo G or whatever, but his daughter, I mean, his mama and her daughter got into it. And I'm looking at the video. This lady shooting at her dog. And I can hear in the background, you tough B, you tough. Oh. And I'm like, sister, oh, she would have killed her. So you going to jail for killing God's gift to you because you didn't like how they said something or what they did. You in jail for shooting an unarmed person, let alone your child. Your whole life gone. You understood why she did it. That's how we grew up. I brought you in this world, I'll take you out. Now, I hope my son, now, I can just shoot my child. I hope he wouldn't try me. But I'd rather for you to try me and we got a fair match going on, then I'm shooting at you and you ain't even got a gun. Y'all got to move forward. See, you got to see, watch this. You can't hold people hostage who parents never really taught them God. So you can't be mad at them for being worldly and that's all they know. So if you at odds with your parents, if you still around him feeling sad because they gone, it's time for you to let it go.